You know what, Sam?
What?
A little adversity never hurt anyone.
Yeah, but this still hurt. I thought that was a pretty good response. It still hurt, Sam. Still hurt. Boy, was that brutal. I, I will admit, Sam, I'm happy we're kind of recording this kind of the day after because it gives us time to kind of organize our thoughts and all that
Yep.
type. Because if we recorded after the game last night, it'd be rated R. I'd be so mad, be cussing probably because and it'd be explicit because of that. But
yeah.
really, that did not happen. And it's one of those games where it's. I mean, definitely needed to record the day after a brutal loss like that to
Yeah.
the Panthers.
But you know what, Sam? The series isn't over, and there's a game on Thursday. So that means we want to help get you folks into seats. So if you use promo code Caniac Report on SeatGeek, you can get $20 off your first purchase and help show out for game 2 because the series isn't over. It's just beginning. We get one here and all bets are off. Did you know every time the Hurricanes won a Eastern Conference Final Series, they lost game 1? They did. True story. They lost game 1. So Carolina lost game 1. It is not over yet. They can play their game, get ready, and get into seats. Promo code Caniac Report, first purchase on SeatGeek, $20 off. Don't leave free money on the table, Sam.
That's a good tie into the promo code, but you're very optimistic, Sam. Very optimistic.
I have to be.
Yeah, I kind of have to be too. But boy, that was some game. But another thing too is we have a link for donations. So if you feel like you want to donate to us, help us with our pain after that loss, we'd appreciate it.
Sam, don't beg
I'm
for
kidding,
money
of
after
course.
loss.
I'm kidding, of course. I need to laugh, okay, Sam. What was the saying? Laughter is the best medicine. So I need to laugh right now. But if you do want to give money, we do have a link for it in both our YouTube descriptions and wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, if you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that like button, hit subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss another episode. And if you're listening to us, Apple, Spotify, whatever, please leave a rating and a review. It really does help us out. Sam, by the way, our last episode was us previewing the series. It's gotten over 200 views. So that is pretty incredible.
I can't believe anyone wants to listen to you.
Okay, you know what? First the loss, and now you're just making this hard for me to record this episode, Sam.
Sam, I'm trying to get your mind off the game. I'm doing a good I'm doing a service for people here. I'm letting them know first off that I'm the better Sam. And
you better shut your mouth over there. All right. So, Sam, just a few things to talk about around the league. One is the Boston general manager, Don Sweeney, signed a 2-year extension. And, 2-year extension. Obviously, Boston, they finally missed the playoffs this year. So, I'm guessing that's more of like a bridge extension to see what he can do in 2 years. And if he can't get stuff done in 2 years, whether it's to rebuild or get back in the playoffs, I'm guessing he's probably gone after that, Sam.
It's possible. It depends, right? It depends on whether or not they believe this should be a rebuild or if this should be a retool. They have some really good pieces on Boston. This should not be anything close to a rebuild. Retool, they could. Heck, they could go out and get Mitch Marner, and they
better not.
They probably end their rebuild. Obviously, I hope that doesn't happen. I hope Carolina gets him. We're in a better position to offer him that kind of money anyway. But either way, heck, Marchand could go back to Boston. You just don't know the what's going to happen there, what their mindset is, what they want to draft, because they have a good pick this year. I mean, it's just a we don't know.
Yeah, we really don't. We'll see. I mean, everything came crashing and burning on fire with this team.
Yep.
And they could not get into the playoffs this past season. The biggest thing is how do they react to that? So it's going to be very interesting for Boston. Another thing too is CBA talks, which is the collective bargaining agreement. You need it in order to play hockey in the NHL.
Yep.
But there are a couple things I do want to discuss. One is I was honestly a little bit sad when I heard this, but there was no desire to change the playoff format, apparently. Because there was a question, I believe, asked about that, and there was no desire to change that. And I'm just like, oh well.
I
That's
don't
okay.
believe that.
I like 1 versus 8.
I don't believe there's no desire. I think the players want it. I think for whatever reason, managers don't. So if it's
I,
something that just no one can agree with, then maybe the players are like, this isn't the hill we're going to die on. I'm sorry, but when you have someone like Sidney Crosby saying they prefer 1 through 8, my inclination is to believe that most of the league wants it to be that way. I feel like he speaks for more
maybe.
players than not.
I mean, I would agree with that, but I could see from like a managerial point of view them not to change
Oh no, the
the
managers don't because
yeah.
it will foster rivalries within the division, and that's what they want because it draws fans and pays the bills and whatever else you want to say. I'm just saying, you know what? Maybe it'd be nice to. I think the 1 through 8 makes more sense because I think it's more fair. They don't care about fair; they care about money, and that's their job is
Yes.
to care about money, and that's fine.
Yep. And I mean, listen, players care about money too. It's a business. That's just how the NHL is compared to all the other sports. So
Yes. Yep.
another thing too, Sam. This was mentioned by Elliot Friedman. I thought this was very interesting. But Buffalo is gauging the market for a prominent defenseman in Bowen Byram. I found that very interesting. Obviously, now knowing the Hurricanes, they'd be like, "This is a defenseman. Can we chime in on this?" No, please, please, no. Um, unless you want to play him with Slavin, but
Well, again,
other than
it's. I
that,
think a lot
no.
of that's going to be more of a conversation for the off season and what this team needs and what
Yeah,
we'd like to see them do, what's available, what's not available. Uh,
but
again, I
Byram's a good defenseman. I
sure.
like Byram.
I just don't know what you'd have to give up to get him, and if it's worth it.
Yeah, but that's pretty much it for what's been happening around the league. But Sam, let's get to the stuff that's happened right before Game 1 because there was an announcement made by Rod Brindamore, and yes, this is going to be a huge topic in today's episode. Brindamore said, obviously Chatfield is still injured, but we're going to play Morrow over Nikishkin in Game 1. Boy, did he not have a good game.
So I think you've seen in the last 2 years, Rod has made some poor coaching decisions that have cost us series. Uh, and I've argued I think Rod is got two weaknesses. And I said this in our group chat today with our friends Keniac Sessions and Warning Take. I think Rod, because they said Rod's a player's coach, and I'm like, I agree, he is. Players do like to play
He
for
is.
him. But his weaknesses are rookies, handling rookies, and goaltenders. Because if you consistently look at mistakes he's made, those are the two areas. The reality of the situation is Nikishin's the better defenseman and has more experience in this realm of playoff games, do or die games, playing with men. Rod's argument was, well, Morrow knows the system. Well, you can know the system all you want. If you're not ready to play, you're not ready to play in the NHL. Nikishin has age on Morrow, size on Morrow, skill on Morrow. So at the end of the day, the common sense decision should have been, all right, Alexander Nikishin plays. Why Rod did not do that, and the fact that he has not taken ownership of that decision and has blamed anything and everything else is just baffling to me. They lost this game not because Scott Morrow played, obviously, but there are 3 goals that are directly related to his play. That matters when you lose by 3. Um, not saying we still win that game or the game goes to overtime or anything like that if Nikishin plays, but when there's some glaring mistakes and glaring issues there, the question has to be: it's like, what was running through your mind? And the first playoff game is not the Eastern Conference Finals game 1, right? For a guy where you were a little iffy on to begin with, right? And because if Rod wasn't iffy on him and he loved the kid, he would have played more games down the stretch, especially when Burns and Orlov were struggling. He did not do that. So for me, it's just you look at the sum of their experiences, their size, where they are in their career, and in their age. To me, just Nikishin makes more sense. They keep saying he had a rough game in Game 5 against the Caps. I mean, I thought he was better than Morrow was tonight, and I think
Yeah, he
Nikishin
was.
got better as the game went on. I mean,
I would agree with that too.
You don't take the puck away from Alex Ovechkin if you're a bad defenseman. I mean that was just elite defensive play. Nikishin needs to play,
And he's
if
made a
Chatfield
couple of
can't go.
hits too. You can tell
Yeah.
Nikishin is a physical guy. And this is where I would argue, why do you play Morrow when you know you have a physical guy in Nikishin where physicality is paramount in this series?
Yep.
I mean, we saw Carolina in the first 8 minutes of this game show that they're not a team to be messed around physically wise.
Yeah.
And I think you need that against a team like the Panthers. The Panthers are in a upper tier, like I'll say probably 2 tiers above probably Washington and definitely New Jersey.
Yeah. I mean, Florida's a good team, and I'm not taking away from their ability. I thought they played a good game. Paul Maurice didn't like their game. I thought Florida played well. But yeah, you put a guy out there who got abused all night. But I'm not laying it at his feet. I thought Jordan Stahl, Jordan Martinook, and William Carrier's line got abused all night too. And that never happens. Ever. And
No.
again, if that line is bad, then you're not going to win any hockey games. I thought Carrier was the best player on that line, but even then he made a few hits, but I thought overall all 3 of them were very bad last night. And that's not good. If your shutdown line is bad, you're in trouble.
Yes. One thing I do want to point out, this was right before the game, but I love seeing Eric Cole sound the siren.
Yeah.
I thought that was
Eric Cole
cool.
sounded the siren, and Eric
Stahl.
Stahl
Yeah.
was at the game, special advisor to the Buffalo Sabres, Kevin Adams. But Eric Stahl was there to cheer on his old team.
Yeah. Well, you know his heart is in Carolina. I mean,
I don't know if I would go that far, but
okay. Well, I think you can still have a heart for a team, even though you're technically working for another team. I mean,
no, that's not what I meant. I mean, I don't know how he still feels about the
current management.
Well, I guess it is current management's better to him. I don't know. It depends on how much resentment he holds for how he was treated here. I think he still loves the area. He was at the game. He didn't have to be there.
Yeah, I know. I think
at times I'm just curious. At times I'm just curious how he feels.
Yeah, well, I mean, Ron Francis was the one that traded him, and he's gone. So, I mean, the only person that was kind of there when Stahl got traded was Brind'Amour, but it's not like he had a say in that. So,
yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't harbor any hard feelings toward a team that didn't have the people that were instrumental of me getting traded. So,
yeah, that's fair as well.
Yeah. Well, Sam, let's go ahead and get to a sponsor, and then we will recap Game 1 in more detail. The NBA 82 game grind is done, and now the real fun begins. The NBA playoffs are here, and it's time for all the high skates drama, clutch moments, and jaw dropping plays. I can't wait. If you're looking to make the playoffs even more exciting, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered as an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Try placing a bet on your favorite player's performance. Will they drop 30 points, 40, or more? It's your call. Here's something special for first timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Make it a playoff run to remember with DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Okay, Sam. So back to the first period. Obviously, like we said before, first 8 minutes, I thought the Hurricanes were pretty good. They established physicality pretty well.
Yep.
And then came what got a lot of us angry. You had Lundell right there in front of Aho, taking kind of some dirty shots at Aho's head. And then Aho was like, okay, this is annoying me. He goes to Lundell, kind of I don't know, puts him sort of in a headlock or whatever. He kind of brushes him, and then the ref is like, okay, Aho, you to the penalty box, and that's it.
Yep.
I'm like, you serious?
Yep.
I don't understand that. I just don't understand that.
That was idiotic, but you know what's more idiotic, Sam?
What?
Florida Panthers fans crying and whining that we bumped Bobrovsky. I don't want to hear it. When you have a player who has consistently taken out goaltenders from series. So yeah, we're going to play a little bit your game. We're going to I don't feel bad if we bump Bobrovsky a little bit. Get over it. Not only do you bump goalies, you run goaltenders. So yeah, Svetch bump Bobrovsky, I have no problem with it. Keep bumping him. As long as it's legal and the refs set the precedent that you can run the goalie and it's legal. So just let it go. Keep doing it. Keep upsetting him. Keep getting in his crease. It was pissing off Bobrovsky. He was talking to the ref. But yeah, just I don't care. If you want to complain and cry and whine about Svetch bumping Bobrovsky's head, I don't care. What you're complaining about is so hypocritical. It's not even funny.
Well, regardless of the whole thing that Svechnikov did, I mean, Carolina, I mean, you could tell heading into this game, and I would say probably it's going to be like this for the rest of the series, is that they're going to be taking runs at Bobrovsky. They just are. And part of the reason why is because you still have lots of the players here on this team 2 years ago where Florida did the same thing. So Carolina's like, no, we're not going to let you do that to our goalie. We're going to do that to your goalie. And, you know, I like that. Now, they lost, but I don't think that was a problem. The problem wasn't getting in the goalie's face. It was other problems. And Sam, obviously, on that Aho penalty, Florida does score. It's Carter Verhaeghe. I mean, I'll admit that was a great shot from Verhaeghe on the backhand, going up right on the top right crossbar on Anderson. The only thing I did not like about that, Sam, was how much time Verhaeghe had to set up that shot, and Jarvis is right there.
I actually thought Freddie should have had it.
Well, Freddie probably should have had it, but regardless, Jarvis was right there, and you need to make. I would say that's a play where you need to be physical.
Yeah.
I mean, interestingly enough, I mean, talk about Carolina being a pretty good physical team. Jarvis needed to be physical right there,
Yeah.
but I thought he was too puck focused. Honestly, with how close he was to Anderson, Anderson probably could have done a poach check. To be honest,
Well, Anderson was too deep in his net. Like if you
yeah, he
watch the
was.
highlight, it was if he was challenging the play, he would have been in a better position to stop the puck, but he was not. So they scored 1-0, and the reality with Florida is once they take the lead, they choke you to death, and then that's pretty much the definition of the rest of the game. Carolina had more shots, nothing dangerous. I mean, they had a few,
Yeah, no,
but I don't think they were very lethal all night after the Florida got the goal. I mean, and then when they had their chances, it was like, what are you doing? Aho tried to go. He didn't elevate the puck on a breakaway. A 2-on-1 didn't get a shot attempt. And the one that I remember the most, it was the second period. Bobrovsky lost a stick, and Roslovic
yeah, I remember the Roslovic
shot
thing.
at his glove.
Yeah,
I'm like, he doesn't have a stick. You go blocker side low. Like, what are you doing going glove side? You don't go glove side when you don't have a stick. You go 5-hole or blocker side low.
I mean, like you and I, we saw a lot of the mental lapses that this Hurricanes team took. I mean, do you think that this was probably just due to the long rest
No,
that they
because
probably had, or like
they
what?
had a
Like what the heck was that?
well, no, because they had a long rest after the Devils series, and they came in and took care of business against the Caps in Washington.
True.
Uh, I don't know what tonight was. Some said the rest. I know Elliot Friedman and Kyle Bukauskas said it was the days off. I think it would be more likely because I guess if you look at the Cap series, it was Carolina and Washington both had the same amount of time off, and Florida had no time off, so they were already kind of going.
I mean, I do think
So,
that's part of it.
so look, do I think Carolina can still like win the series? Sure, I think they can. They're not out of this game. They're not out of this series at all. You win on Thursday, you get a game in Florida, and you're back to home ice. It's a best of three. Uh, but I think why they were flat. I mean, it could just be as simple as they were due for a loss and for a bad game. Because I think even in their losses to New Jersey and Washington, I didn't think they were bad. I thought they were actually really good. And their one loss to the Caps, I think Carolina was a better team in that game. I think Washington just got lucky. And New Jersey, it went to overtime. That game could have easily Carolina could have easily won that game.
Yeah,
They had opportunities to do so. So I think a lot of it might have been Carolina was due for loss. And I think that's fine too. They have not faced adversity. They haven't faced a really tough opponent until now. And it just could be they weren't ready to play at the intensity that Florida had to play. Because if you look at their paths, right? We talk about bracket
yeah,
luck and we talk about paths. And I think it matters. Florida played Tampa first. That was a 5-game series. But I think Tampa Bay is a better team than Washington or New Jersey. They beat Tampa. Then they played Toronto. Toronto has Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, William Nylander, John Tavares, Max Domi, Max Pacioretty. I mean, that team is loaded offensively.
yeah,
It took them 7 games to beat it, and they lost at home. But they couldn't even clinch it out at home ice. They had to go back to Toronto. They did win in Toronto because Florida did what Florida does, and got physical, won the game. But that was a tough series. So if you look at their two paths, Carolina's path was easier. They have not played an opponent the levels that Florida has been playing them at. So I think
I
that
think that's
matters.
part of. Yeah,
I mean, that was only our third loss of the playoffs. I mean, we're what 8-3-0. I mean, the worst that we can do in this playoffs is 8-6-0, and that's if we get knocked out. Still
yeah,
2 games
true.
above 500, so we still won more.
I do think that once Florida probably scored that first goal, I think that's
Bleeding.
when we kind of started to see Carolina start to get. I don't know if scared is the right word. Probably just a little bit timid because I think that was when they're like, oh boy, because there are quite a few players I was on on this team that could have that PTSD from 2023, and I think you could definitely see that on the ice with some of these players, but it
I
was
have
just
some
frustrating.
I have some news
What?
about Mitch Marner. If we want to just tack this in real quick because it matters for the team. The Leafs attempted to sign Mitch Marner to a contract extension during the season. The organization chose not to wait and see how the postseason played out. They wanted to sign him. They wanted Marner to stay. If they had signed him to an 8-year deal, it would have marked the largest contract in franchise history. He declined.
Yeah, he's gone. Uh, but
But that
I
goes to a little bit what we're talking about, right? We lose 5-2. The offense didn't get there.
no,
So,
we didn't.
if a player like Marner would fit a need, right? And it's this need that we always see in the Eastern Conference Finals. It's our
Mm-hmm.
inability to put the puck in the net. It's our
Yep.
inability to finish because we don't have any finishers on this team. I mean, Jarvis at times has been a finisher. Svetch has been our finisher this postseason, but that's new. Marner's a goal scorer. I mean, he hasn't played well in Toronto. I would argue he hasn't played well in Toronto because the amount of pressure there is unreal. And it's hard to do that, especially when you're always the one being blamed for everything. That fills a need that we just consistently have been seeing. Now we'll see how the rest of the Eastern Conference Finals go. But if Carolina gets swept again, doesn't win, and they aren't scoring, and goaltending is a problem again, first off, I don't know how you're expecting us to run back with Freddie Anderson, Pyotr Kochetkov. I don't see how that's going. I don't see how that's going to get it done again. Freddie Anderson is going to be a whole year older for the next season.
And I did have a question about the timing of signing the contract.
Now,
The timing I did not like.
Freddie didn't play well. I think you can make the argument that there is an argument to be made to go to Kochetkov because I think he was that bad last night. Freddie was not good. Um, but you probably go back to Freddie. You let him run it again. If he plays poorly again, you have to go to Kochetkov, whether you believe he can play or not. You have to because as of now he is your goalie of the future because you don't have anybody else unless you want to go. I think it's Alexiev is your other goaltender in
You
Chicago that
mean
maybe one day.
you mean Ruslan Kaziev?
Kaziev. So you got
Yeah,
Kaziev in Chicago. That maybe that's your guy down the road. I don't know,
maybe.
but
I
you
don't know.
just we're seeing the two things that have knocked this team out in the playoffs most years: inability to score, and goaltending hasn't been where you need it to be. I'm not complaining about the first two rounds. Freddie has been the best goaltender in the league, and our offense has been there. I'm inclined to believe Carolina just was shocked with the intensity that Florida played and the quality of opponent they are versus what they've had to play. So I think it was a learning experience. If Carolina comes into game two, they win, they score, and Freddie is elite, or even if they win, they don't score a lot, but Freddie is still the difference maker again, then I'm going to feel better about Freddie. He just had a bad night. Every goalie's entitled to a bad game. I think even in the playoffs, it happens. Bobrovsky's had a couple bad games in the playoffs this year,
Yes, he has.
and that's okay. His numbers are actually pretty bad if
But
you
you
take a
can't
look at
have
everything.
both. You can't have both inadequate scoring and bad goaltending. And that's what happened in this game.
Yes.
Heck, I didn't like the Ekblad goal either. I mean, I know he was probably screened, but I still like to see Anderson make a save there.
Yeah.
And my gosh, Stahl, he was the one that turned that puck over. Oh my gosh.
Like I
How's
said,
this? Oh,
if
Stahl did
Jordan
not
Stahl
have a good game.
if Jordan Stahl's bad, you're probably not winning the hockey game.
Yeah, because he's rarely bad. Now, let's say we get swept in the in this series against Florida and he has constantly 4 bad games in a row, then I would probably consider. I know Bryn Moore probably is not going to do it because he has favoritism, and I think favoritism's wrong, but whatever. That's my opinion. Uh, I think if I was Brandon Moore, I'd be like, okay, I'm reducing you to fourth line minutes for next season. And I mean, the guy's 37 years old, so it's not like he's young. So it could be because of father
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
But
Look,
that's a way far off question.
I mean, I didn't really think anybody played really well in this game. I thought Ghostisbhere was fine. By the way, I thought
And
he actually
Carrier, I
played
thought
well.
Carrier played good.
I did. I just didn't like that line. I thought Carrier was fine in the first 10 minutes of the first, but that
It
was
was
about
it
it.
was more it was more Stahl and Martinook than Carrier, in my
Yes, no,
opinion.
and I just said that earlier that it was mostly
Yeah.
those two, but it brought Carrier down. It makes me wonder how injured Martinook is, and
Yeah,
if
from
that, and
taking
if
that slap
that,
shot.
yeah, and if that brought the line down in general. Um,
Aho scored though.
Aho did score and made the first period a little bit more better. It gave us hope.
It did
But of
give us hope.
course, Florida dashes that hope because they make it 3-1 pretty early on in the second period. And it was just like, come on, guys. Like,
Do you think that was a kick, by the way?
no, I don't. I thought he angled his skate, but I didn't think he kicked it in.
Yeah, I didn't think he kicked it into. It's just when I saw that play, I was and knowing how the refs can be, I was like, I wonder if this is coming back. But it didn't, so I was happy.
I was happy too, but again, it doesn't matter. You scored one. Aho could have had a hat trick that game. He had that many chances. One, he passed up on a 2-on-1. He should have shot the puck. He missed a breakaway, and he got one goal. You
And
need
he
more from your
switched.
top line.
Him and Stahl switched at one point, which
Yeah,
was interesting.
that I thought was just dumb, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Uh, but yeah, as you said in the second period, Florida comes out. You have Greer scoring, and to me, this was kind of the play where I mean, you start to see Scott Morrow not really doing good because there was a 2-on-1 chance right there. Now,
Yep.
I put some blame on Jason. Sorry, not Jason Blake, Jackson Blake there because he was kind of already covering. I believe it was Nasik. He was kind of already covered by Ghost. But at the same time, I mean, you can tell Mora was trying to go for the puck carrier. I'm like, dude, focus on the other men, not the guy carrying the puck. Leave that to the goalie.
Yeah,
Like you
you take
always
away the
do
pass.
that.
Yep, the defenseman takes away the pass. Didn't do it.
Like, oh my god, he just did not have a good game.
Look,
at
there's
all.
a
My
reason I'm not
gosh.
wearing my Brenda Moore jersey like right
Yeah,
now.
I know.
One, we lost, and I've decided I'm going to rotate after losses. So this jersey will be worn until we lose, and hopefully we don't lose again. I rotate after losses that I go to the game. So my Brenda Moore jersey had not lost a game yet for all the games I'd been to at home in the playoffs, and I think I've only missed one. I will miss a second this Thursday. So the next home game I go to, if I get to go to another home game, which would be game 5 or 7. So if I go to one of those, wear another jersey. But I'm not wearing my Brandon Moore jersey because one, he can hang his hat on 3 of those goals. Rod and Morrow are equally to blame for 3 goals. And it's just an absolute fact. Morrow should not have played. There was no
You
reason to
really
play him.
shouldn't have.
One, Nikishin wasn't that bad not to play him again. 2, okay, yeah, let's piss off our high-end, freakishly amazing Russian defenseman. He's going to be our best defenseman. Like, he's going to be that.
He
And
should be that.
And instead of playing him, I mean, yeah, it's going to take him some time to fully become that. Probably maybe a half a season. I bet he becomes that kind of guy pretty quick. I think he's that good to do that. But it's still like, okay, why are we doing this? Like, why is this the way we do it? Rod and this team has consistently pissed off rookies that are good. And it's just like, what are we doing? Do we not learn from Natchez? Like, come on, let's not play this game.
Well, another thing too is that I think it did come out today. Chatfield might be able to play tomorrow night, and if he is able to play, you put him in. Like I like Nikishkin, but
Yeah,
I
I
did miss
saw that,
Chatfield.
but I also saw
Who?
I know. I think I've seen that they don't think Chatfield plays. At least
Well,
pundits don't
even
think
if
he
he
plays.
doesn't, you got to put Nikishin in. And honestly, everybody's saying that after this loss. I mean, he was atrocious. He was more atrocious than Nikishin was in the Washington game. So, but we already talked about that a ton. Sam, obviously, in the third period, you have Bennett scoring on the power play. So, Carolina's special teams wasn't good this game
Nope.
at all. I know Blake scored on the power play, but at that point, the game was meaningless. You were
Yeah,
down 5-1.
meaningless goal. It didn't matter.
No, it didn't. But you had Bennett scoring, and even though I liked Walker, I mean Walker was the player right in front of Bennett right there. He wasn't playing that aggressive
Yeah.
toward Bennett, and you have to play aggressive toward him. So
Well, like I said,
yeah,
I think a lot of this game was a team that had already ratcheted up their intensity and was ready to go, and a team who had some time off, and opponents there was no need to have that intensity yet. And I think the realities hit.
yeah, and I mean you never know. Like if we win the next game, then you could look at this game and be like, okay, this game was a wake up call for the Hurricanes. But that's only if they win the next game. Of course, you have Luce Ryan scoring, Sam, too. And that's not a good goal. That was a defensive collapse right there. And the player that was out there was Morrow. So, and Morrow was doing nothing around Anderson there. So I don't know really what he was doing. He was probably looking at butterflies or fans or something. But 5-1, and Sam, that was when we kind of left because we were like, yeah, we're done now. Blake scores, makes it 5-2, but boy, that was something. One thing I do want to bring up, Sam, and Ghost did say this after the game, but he shot the puck at Brad Marchand,
No, well, he deserves it.
and
Sure.
still, you can't shoot any player for that matter. Like
Sam,
you
have you
gotta play your
seen the
game.
absolute dirty crap that Florida has done? I don't care. Give them a taste of their own medicine. They deserve it.
I want to win. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, I want to win too, but it's Marchand and he licks people and he's dirty. Go ahead and shoot the puck at him. Let him know you're not going to put up with his garbage.
I thought he was going to get fined when Go said that, but he didn't. So that's good. But Marchand, man, he just went off on
Let
Ghost
him.
there. He just went off, and he got game misconduct for it. So honestly, I was like,
I think
well,
that
that
was
worked
fine.
out for the Hurricanes. But at that point, it was 5-1, and I was like, yeah, Canes aren't winning this game. But Sam, I just hope this is not a sweep. That's the only thing that makes me nervous that we lost at home.
You and me
And I
both.
just don't want this to be a sweep. That's the biggest thing. Now, it's only one game, so I'm not going to
Yes.
freak out. Might be freaking out a little bit right now, but I'm not going to freak out. And we'll see what happens in game two. If I was Brendan Moore, honestly, though, in game two, I would scratch Jackson Blake, put Jankowski in. I love Blake, but I just think Jankowski's a little bit more needed with what he brings. And I didn't
Size.
think
Well,
Blake played that good.
well, Yankowski can score and he brings a little bit of size, so you're not losing a lot there. He's not as skilled as Blake, but Yankowski can score, and so you're not sacrificing too much offense there. You're adding some size. Uh, yeah, I mean, if it's me, I probably bench Roslovic or Blake. Um,
I thought Roslovic had a decent game.
if you're looking for center help and you just want more options down the middle in a game, then keeping Roslovic and Yankowski in and scratching Blake makes sense. And again, I think it's important to say we're not scratching Blake, and we're not saying to scratch Blake because he's played bad. It's because he's not the size and the maturity isn't there yet, which those things will come, right?
It will.
Jarvis is a smaller guy, but again, the size and maturity followed, and he became bigger and bulkier and was able to handle his own. Blake will be able to do just that. He's a younger guy. He's got to bulk up a little bit, which again will happen. But you put in a guy like Yankowski, who's been in the league a little bit longer, who's ready to play, who can play in that kind of situation, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Again, we're not saying Blake is bad. That is not why we're saying scratch Jackson Blake. He's not been as good as maybe you want, but it's not because we're punishing you. It's there's a need that needs to be filled, and unfortunately, in this moment, Jackson Blake does not fill that need.
No, he doesn't. Another thing too, obviously, I think Nikishin is going to play the next game. I would pair him with Orlov because, I mean, yeah, you might have a bit of a language barrier there. Although I thought I saw something that the barrier isn't as bad as it was thought to be. But regardless, you have a veteran Russian defenseman in Orlov and a good, promising young star possibly in Nikishkin. So you pair those two together, I think they can work very well. I don't know if you pair. I've heard some discussion of pairing Nikishin with Ghost. I don't know if I do that. I don't know, but I'd rather pair him with Ghost and Moro with Ghost because I
Yeah,
think
that was
for
that
game
was a
one.
disaster. Yeah, that was a disaster.
Man. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it that we have to discuss for game one. So, I mean, quite a bit of goals. Florida dominated, but let's see what Carolina does in game two. You have any last thoughts, Sam?
You guys won't see me for a couple of games. I will be
That's
back
right.
for game 4, so you'll just be with the lesser Sam for a couple of games.
Okay, you know what? You watch it. And you know what? In my name, when they watch me on YouTube, I'm going to be called Sam the Greatest Sam Wallace. All right.
But I won't be here. I'm gonna be out of town. So enjoy Mr. Wallace here and his takes on the after the games. But I will be back for game 4. Hopefully that's not the last game of the series, Sam.
I hope not. I really, really hope not. But Sam, can't wait for you to listen to my solo episodes.
I don't know. Maybe I
Uh,
won't.
Sam, come on. You're not going to listen to your own co host episodes. Do you really not do that?
Oh, maybe I'll watch it on YouTube.
That's
Give us
just
some
so
YouTube
sad.
views.
Okay, all right. At least you get to see how attractive I am. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
All right, we will see you guys after game number 2.